Since 1983, FAME has helped business and education work for Maine. Contact the authority, the Finance Authority of Maine. You're watching Mainebiz Sunday, Maine's business news source.
We begin with Southern Maine. With us to discuss the markets for office and industrial space in this region, we have Drew Sigfridson, a broker with CB Richard Ellis, the Boulos Co in Portland, and Greg Perry, an associate broker with Cardente Real Estate, also in Portland. Welcome. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you all taking the time. I know you're both going to be presenters today at the conference, so you got your presentation materials all ready to go, right?
We do.
Do we have any PowerPoints we're going to do? Right here today? Okay. For Drew, I'm going to start with you. You're doing the presentation today on the forecasting for office real estate, commercial real estate in the office area in Southern Maine. Give us a real quick snapshot of how are things in Southern Maine in office real estate? Sure.
Well, from last year to this year, we've increased in the vacancy rate from about 9.5% to about 11.2%. In terms of square footage, that translates into an additional about 260,000 square feet. So there's a slight increase year over year. The issue is that over the past 3 years, we've continued to increase to that point that we're at now of 11.2%. Since we've been calculating the office vacancy rates in Southern Maine, this is the highest that it's been since the early 90s.
Yeah, I was looking at some of your presentation materials, and that bar graph you have, which shows from 2004 to now, or 2010 rather, the vacancy rate is pretty stark. We're double the vacancy rate now, right?
Essentially, it is double from where it once was in, say, the early 2000s. When we were at 4%, 5% vacancy rate, now we're up to 11%. The reason for that is really because company consolidations, companies downsizing, companies relocating out of the state of Maine, as well as smaller companies that might have been in business for only a few years that were expanding at a drastic rate may have sold or just gone out of business completely.
It's the economy.
It really
is. Because of the recession, we have that vacancy. Are we seeing some great deals on rentals out there, in particular for office space?
There are. Right now, there are a tremendous amount of landlord incentives. The tenant is still really the driver in the market.
Yep.
If you're a tenant and you have a need, now is a good time to really try to lock in for a long period of time, because you're going to be at a rental rate that's really quite low.
Right.
So a lot of companies are starting to look at taking advantage of those sorts of things. They're seeing the economy looking to improve, and they want to lock down their space.
And I noticed that, too, in some of your materials that you talked about, kind of a sign that things are improving, is that they're not those short-term, people are locking in for more than 3 to 5 years as opposed to that 6 month. Let me just get into 6 month, make my deal.
In the past 2 years or so, we've really seen a lot of companies that are struggling to see 6 or 12 months ahead. It's triage mode. What can we do to just survive the next year? And now what we're seeing is companies again starting to look at growth, starting to look at long term, starting to look 3, 5, 7, 10 years out, which is a really great sign. Okay. So for buyers, leasers, it's a good time. For owners of the buildings, is this the bottom? Are they going to start filling those buildings up? Well, I hope so. Last year...
Wait a minute, you said that last year.
Yeah, last year I said it was the bottom. This year I'm again saying...
This year you really mean it.
I really mean it. And I think that's going to be the case. We're going to see some large vacancies continue at the early part of this year. For instance, Pierce Atwood is relocating about 70,000 square feet, moving down onto a new development project on the waterfront. That's going to create another large vacancy. The building that they're moving into was historically cold storage. It had never been office product. So it's new to the market, a new vacancy. Okay, great.
Greg, I'm going to move to you. Let's talk about industrial space now. You're talking about the same region. Give me a snapshot of what's going on out there. How was 2010 for industrial real estate?
2010 was better than 2009.
Everything was better than 2009.
It didn't take much to see an improvement, but we did see an improvement in 2010 over 2009. I think we were rescued by a strong fourth quarter.
Okay, so that's when you started to see the...
Yeah, we saw a lot more activity. I think that our projections for the beginning of the year were off a bit. We didn't see as much activity in the early part of the year as we did in the later part of the year. A large part of it had to do with concessions being made by landlords. It wasn't so much the economy improving, although I think we've seen some level.
To keep tenants or to bring new in?
Well, combination of the two. I think you're seeing restructuring of existing leases. You're also seeing landlords make larger concessions to get tenants active in the market.
Right.
So there was definitely that helped invigorate the market at the end of the year this year.
The same kind of question we had for Drew then. Talked about vacancy rates. What's it look like out there?
Probably about 12%. I don't have an exact number, but in the area of 12% vacancy. Certain areas have done a lot better than others.
How does that put us nationwide compared to other?
We're better than the nation average.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
For industrial?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so is any of this that fourth quarter piece, and I try to think about our viewers always wanted to look, especially with real estate, to look at, they're trying to read the tea leaves to see, what's really going to happen out there, what's the indicators. And I think with industrial, that's got to be that's real stuff.
Yeah.
Office space, you can get in, you can get out, it's a different thing. But when you invest in new industrial space, that's a long-term commitment, shows that some confidence in the economy. Is that what you're seeing with your clients?
I think so. I think we're still struggling with the larger buildings, the big manufacturing buildings, the antiquated buildings
right.
that are on the market and in the inventory. It's been a real challenge to get some of those filled, and I think we're going to continue to see a challenge to fill those going into 2011.
Okay, for both of you then, just jump in on either one. It's a buyer's market out there right now. That's a good thing for buyers. The economy's starting to turn around. We talked about incentives that are happening. But is money available? If I'm a small business and I'm ready to make that, I want to make that leap now, I want to do some investment, can I get the money I need to move into one of your offices or one of your spaces?
Well,
what are you finding?
Last year, the programs that were offered through SBA were tremendous, and I think that it jump-started a lot of projects that might not have otherwise happened. There were banks teamed with SBA financing. SBA was waiving most of their fees, and all of a sudden, a new buyer, a small business, could go in, put 10% down, lock in attractive financing in the mid-fives, which was a great entry point into the market. And I think we continue to see banks being conservative, yet they have money to lend, and they are making
And on the industrial side, too, are there tax credits now, too, that they can use?
Not much in the way of tax credits that are going to help out, but we're starting to see good opportunities for tenants to secure long-term discounts, as Drew said. So I think we're seeing some tenants get active in the market that we didn't see in previous years, simply because they can secure long-term discounts and get great incentives from landlords now.
That's good. That's good. One last question quickly, because we're going to wrap this segment, but about construction. New construction versus renovating existing properties out there, which is the best deal?
Well, there is virtually no new construction of office product occurring right now. There have been several projects in southern Maine over the course of the past 2 years that have been major renovations. So I would say that for the most part, renovations are going to be less than new construction. The one place that we are seeing new construction happen is really in the healthcare field.
Okay. And I'm going to wrap up with the same question to you on industrial. What do you say?
I don't think we're going to see...
Is it better to go renovate one of those old places?
Yeah, I think we're going to see more renovation, and we still have so much space to fill right now.
And a lot of construction companies out there that are going to underbid each other to get that job.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I'm going to keep you around for some afterthoughts. Stick around. We'll bring in the other brokers and discuss the whole state.
Great.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be right back to take a closer look at the real estate market in the rest of the state.
Mainebiz Sunday is brought to you by Bangor Savings Bank, where you can enjoy free ATMs worldwide.